गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Today is our concluding satsang on Vivek Chudamani, and we are looking at the threefold understanding, Anubandha Chatushtaya. And yesterday we saw, last week, we'll just recap the 579th verse. इत्याचार्यस्य शिष्यस्य संवादेनात्मलक्षणं निरूपितं मुमुक्षूणां सुखबोधोपपत्तये इत्याचार्यस्य शिष्यस्य संवादेनात्मलक्षणं निरूपितं मुमुक्षूणां सुखबोधोपपत्तये. In this manner, for easy comprehension, the self-knowledge was presented for the seekers of liberation in the form of dialogue between the Guru and disciple. And we saw last week also, I think, did we do this verse? I think we did, or we touched it.
Huh? We have finished everything.
We have?
Yeah, we have finished the book.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought we have not finished the book.
No, you told me you are going to give a new text and we are waiting for that.
No new text today because I have not looked at it. I thought we had to still finish it.
We are waiting for your email.
Oh, okay. So anyway, we recap this and we continue today's class.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we completed it, is it?
Yeah.
Strange. Why in my mind it is that I have not finished it? So, this text was given as a dialogue between the teacher and the student. Similarly, we see in Bhagavatam, we see in Bhagavad Gita, we see Ram Gita, Lakshman Gita, Avadhut Gita. Everywhere we see that Upanishads, so many Upanishads are there in which the student, like the Kathopanishad, the Nachiketa is the student and the Lord of Death is the Guru. And this way, it makes it more, for the student, it makes it useful. It is not coming off someone's head that in fact, there was someone like me who was having these type of questions, these type of confusions, and therefore this text also has been presented in that manner. Again, we have to understand one thing: Vedanta is not a philosophy. This is not an imagination of Shankaracharya that he has created something new which he wants to propagate around on this earth. No, he has not created anything new. He has only taken what is given in the scriptures. What are the scriptures? The Vedas, the Upanishads. And he has taken those tenets, he has taken those verses, and this is the first time that someone has presented to the seekers in such an elaborate, logical, thoughtful manner. Nobody has ever done that before. You see, till Shankaracharya, there may have been commentaries, but not so exhaustive, where each and every word of the scriptures has been taken into consideration. And their scriptures are many, so many Upanishads are there. You, majority of us, people come to know only about 10, 11 of them. But there are more than 100 Upanishads. So many Upanishads are there in the Vedas. Atma Bindu Upanishad and so many of them are there. So what is the nichod? Nichod, what is the essence of all that? That the teacher here has presented in the form of dialogue between student and the teacher. And then, so if we had done it, I just hitamima upadeshamadriyantam vihita nirasta samasta chitta doshaha bhava sukha virata prashanta chittaha Shrutirasika mumukshavo ye. Those who have purified their mind of all the misgivings removed by the process of listening of Vedanta and are dispassionate about the worldly enjoyments, ever at peace, the fond students of scriptures and the secrets therein and desirous of liberation, such seekers should respect and practice these instructions in their life. Vihita nirasta samasta chitta doshaha. Second line. What does it mean? It says that those who have removed all the shortcomings, all the misgivings, all the in brackets sins. Vasanas are the sins, which is keeping them away from themselves. So those who have purified all them, and how they have done it? First it was, see, this whole text began with Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka, Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. But when we are talking about Chitta Shuddhi, you practice Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan. Become content first. Without a content mind, study of Vedanta is not going to be fruitful. If we are continuously running after the world, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to achieve this, I have to achieve that. Yesterday someone sent me a SMS, or today they sent me SMS. I'm forgetting which day is what. And they said, Swamiji, thank you very much. They must have heard some meditation somewhere. And then they said, oh, I feel, I used to see, I have to come to know the light that I am. I have to come to know the light that I am. And suddenly, listening to the meditation, it clicked that I don't have to know the light, I have to be the light. But then she added one more sentence. What is that? I have to be the light and I have to share this light with the humanity. Again dug the grave. So then I had to correct, because she has sent me. She was saying thank you. I can't say accept the thanks without correction if the thought is wrong. So then I told, no, sun doesn't go and illuminate the world. That is its nature. Illumination happens. When you say that I have to go and illuminate the world and help the people to light the lamps in their hearts, then we have a desire. Then we have a desire. Then what are you doing, Swamiji? You are also teaching. If it stops tomorrow, I am absolutely okay with it. Just like so many people are not okay with not going out of the house because of COVID. For me, it has made no difference at all. Absolutely no difference. Life is still continuing the way it has to continue. It's a happening. Neither there is a wish to do this, nor there is a wish not to do this, anything. Whichever way it unfolds, that is contentment. And that will come about when we have, here it says, Vihita nirasta samasta chitta doshaha, when we have completely culled all the doshas, all the shortcomings, all the sins from our chitta. Chitta means, chitta word is made up of CHIT in English, I am saying. In Sanskrit it is chit plus ta. So it becomes chitta. CHIT plus TA. So what is that takar? That ta which is added? Chit means consciousness. Consciousness with a foreign body introduced in it, as if, is called mind, is called chitta. See? So that foreign body has to be removed. How do you remove? Remain non-reactive to everything that is going on. Chitta Shuddhi. And then Bhava Sukha Virataha. Bhava Sukha Virataha, that that we have worked out in ourselves, that that we are not at all, even an iota, interested in engaging in this world. Not out of escapism, not out of depression, but out of discrimination. See, because if we have been, this will come today, we'll look at it a little bit. He has given us something between the 2 years. Use it. Discriminate. That till today, nothing in this world has ever made me completely content, completely happy. If I continue to live the way I've been living, then what is the conclusion? I'll remain discontent even at the end. See? Bhava Sukha Virataha. And therefore, recognizing that the whole world is impermanent, it's finite, it's ever changing, and that which is of this nature, of impermanence, can never give me permanent happiness. Bhava Sukha Virataha. And what are we doing? We are trying to seek happiness from the world. This we have to work out. No teacher can work it out for you. No scripture can work it out for you. They can only, remind you again and again. But you have to sit with this. That why is it not clicking? Are we giving the self contemplation more importance than the world, or are we giving the world more importance than the self? You have to sort it out with yourself. You have to work it out. You have to work out, I can't leave my business, I can't leave my profession, I can't leave my family, I can't leave my wife, I can't leave my children, I can't leave eating food. But I am absolutely interested in this. Then what do I do? Find a way. Find a way. If you can't leave all these things, then Vedanta will never click. And where it has to, how do you have to live? You don't have to live physically. You have to stop giving value and importance to all these things that I just mentioned in your mind. While life is making you go through all these avenues of life, of relationships, of business, of profession, where is your attention? Is your attention on the self? See, when we are driving the car, where is your attention? Your attention is that your car remains between the two white lines in your lane. There is so much traffic, you are aware of everything. You have to have a sixth sense if someone else should not come and dash against you. You are not scared of driving, you are not worried about those who are, they can't even go for a drive. They will be shaking. But those of us who are driving, we are not anxious, we are not panicking, and yet this is what is called what do you call alert, what do you call focus without tension. Effortless focus. That's what it is. Effortless focus. That your attention is on the goal, your attention is on the two lanes, your attention is that the car remains in a straight line, and at the same time you are aware of everything that is going on around you, in the back, in the side, on this side, in the front, who is driving fast, who has put the brakes, is someone swerving into your lane, and yet you don't forget the goal. Is there a way that you can live through this traffic of life and not forget the self? See? That acumen we have to develop, because the tools are there with you, but it's not being applied in the right direction, that's all. Bhava sukha virataha prashanta chittaha. This is the next point when I said effortless focus. If you are going to be stressed about driving all the time, you will not enjoy your ride. Instead, we enjoy. We swerve here, or we go fast. If it is 100, I'll go 110. Me, I'm talking about. Not you guys. You are law-abiding citizens. See? So we enjoy our drive. We enjoy the gardening. We enjoy whatever life is placing in front of us. See? Prashanta chittaha, with a quiet, calm, happy disposition, a happy mind. Prashanta chitta, again mind, prashant, it's the ultimate happiness. And how does this come about, this prashanta chittaha? If you take the scheme that is given here, vihita nirasta samasta chitta doshaha bhavasukha virataha prashanta chittaha. Why? How come the mind has become so happy and blissful? Because there is nothing there to hijack our attention. There is the vasanas, the doshas, they have been reduced. Doshas are reduced. When we start looking forward, imagining, what if this car comes and hits me? What if this car comes and does this? What if what if I put the brake too hard? Then the back one will come and hit me. When you are thinking of all these options, you are not driving. See? Many times what happens when you are driving, if there is a anxious passenger next to you, then they are driving you. You know you are driving, but the other one is anxious. They are pressing the brake before you have pressed the brake. They are turning the car when you are not. You have to turn the car, they are turning. Yeah, that is going to do this way or that way. Anxious, not accepting Enjoy the ride. Sometimes it's at a snail's pace, sometimes it's at a supersonic speed. Enjoy. Life is also like this. All the time it is not only one pace. You have to just learn to adjust to it. Yeah? And with that prashanta chit, with that happy mind, disposition in the mind, Shruti Rasika, he who has love for the scriptures, he who is, only such a mind gets attracted to scriptures. Only such a mind can then imbibe the teachings of the scriptures. A corrupted, adulterated mind with all the doshas, it comes to the scriptures, what will it understand? That which they do, that it should not understand, it will understand. So, with such a mind, we develop by continuous exposure to the scriptures. You can put it in different ways. By continuous, such a seeker with a continuous exposure to the scriptures, to the satsangs, by listening, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, active listening, reflection, which is removal of doubts, and contemplation, which is deeply contemplating on the statements of the scriptures and be absorbed in it. This continuous, and when we expose our mind to satsang, to the scriptures, then slowly, because our mind is uncluttered, and uncluttered mind is naturally deviated towards the self. It automatically wants to know something higher because it's pure. And when the words of the scriptures come, so see the previous points which were told before coming to the Shruti Rasikaha, he has already, this is what is told in the Upanishads as Samit Pani Shrotriya Brahmanishtam. So that means this person has completely become dried of desires. Then what is the purpose of life? I'm not interested. Sometimes, yesterday someone called me and they said, Swamiji, I have a granddaughter and she's 15 years old, and her parents and others, they think that she's a mental case, she's schizophrenic. I said, what are the symptoms? She only telling me, the grandmother. She said, oh, she thinks that when I ask her, she says, I am seeing myself. I said, very good. If she's seeing herself, 15-year-old. Frankly, my observation of life and talking to so many teenagers, kids, youth, every person goes through this experience in their life. But they're confused. What is this? This is something out of this world. So either they become cranky, or they they become rebellious, or they go into drugs or drinks, or they become self-inflictive because of non-recognition of what has happened to them. But it is natural that everyone will go through this. And each one of us has taken some path so as not to address what actually happened when we were young. Otherwise, I told you, remember once, every 7 years one chakra opens. By 49 you should be realized. It could be that she's just matured, maybe the hormones are playing, but at the same time, because of the hormones, there is confusion. So I had to give her Doctors want to put her into the give her medicines, because this society, this medical system, these doctors, these psychiatrists, they don't understand these conditions of the mind. Because they have never known. They have never known. It's all external observation. They don't even know their mind, and they are assessing other people's mind. These are the today's psychiatrists. All they know is about what they have read in the books. But they don't know their own mind. So the Shruti Rasikaha, even when I was long time ago, when I used to take the kids classes, these kids, I used to put them questions. You have to ask the right question. And those kids used to write some notes. Those notes, those statements, those their essay on something that I have asked them to write on, it used to be not less than an Upanishad. Because kids are uncluttered. They got no data, they got no past. So whatever comes out of them, all you have to do is give direction to their mind. Think in this manner, and they will. And whatever they used to write used to be as good as a statements of Upanishad. Just like this girl, if she says, I see myself, you all want to, that's what you all want to do. You want to be yourself, you want to see yourself. Sakshat. Guru Sakshat Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. See? And that is why when we have through the previous practices, when we have purified our mind is happy, we are not into depression, and with that happy mind we expose ourselves to the scriptures and start loving the scriptures, because they are telling us, start revering, start respecting, start contemplating upon the scriptures. Shruti Rasikaha. That if Rasika is he who is enjoying listening to scriptures. Rasika is a music. Rasika is a person who enjoys listening to music. Any classical music is there, they will go buy a ticket and attend it. So you are all Rasikas. Every Wednesday you come to listen to the satsang. Rasika. You are what do you call? The satsang brings you the joy of the experience of nectar, even though it is through words. But that is what you are experiencing. You come very close to it through satsang. See? Shruti Rasikaha. So we have to, and the more we love, respect, revere, enjoy engaging with the scriptures and listening, reflecting and contemplating, then the statements of the scripture will click by continuous exposure to it, directly proportional to your engagement with the scriptures. Effortlessly the clicks will start happening, which you all must have experienced for so many years you have been listening. Shruti Rasikaha. Yatayaha. Yatayaha means he who is he who puts whatever efforts are required to be done. You know, sometimes children come and say, Swamiji, give me blessings. Just now someone applied for some university They passed the, what is that, GMAT for doctory. What is some exam for getting into medicine, and
UMAT, Swamiji.
huh?
UMAT.
UMAT. They got it. They passed the UMAT, and they got some. They applied to some universities. So before giving exam, one day before he called, Swamiji, please bless me. I said, I can bless you, but you have to. No, have you prepared? Yes, I have prepared. How much have you prepared? Is it what you think is preparation is enough, or what is the required preparation to get to pass? That is the preparation that is to be done. See? So the required preparation. Now what is required? The requirement is that I must pass the UMAT with good marks. Then for that, if I feel that 1 hour a day of study is enough, then I don't think, if we are not as smart, then I don't think 1 hour a day will be enough. Then I increase it to 2 hours, then 3 hours, then 4 hours. First time I failed, second time, Swamiji, I studied for, I'm not talking about this person. So Swamiji, I did almost 10 hours a day I used to study, but still I did not pass. Then that was not the required effort. Then what is the required? 24/7. You have to be obsessed with it. And have no doubt in your mind that you will not pass. So same statement goes to us. We should have no doubt that whatever is given in the scriptures is not possible. Because whatever is told in the scriptures is our nature. That is the theme. Mumukshavo ye. So here he says that yataya means he is putting efforts to realize, become one with that which is being taught by the scriptures, and he's putting the right effort. He's putting the required effort in a relaxed, cool, contemplative manner, not out of anxiousness, not out of panic. See? Mumukshu, that those who have or he who has a burning desire to liberate. This is all these points mentioned before will be possible only if you have a desire to liberate. If there is no desire for liberation, then what are you purifying your mind for? Then what are you bhavasukha virataha for? See? What are you getting engaged with the scriptures for if you don't want liberation? And there are people who do that. All professors of Vedanta, professors of devotion, they are all doing this. Majority of the people like us who are giving lectures are only big mouth. Get information from here, there, study here, study there, and keep talking. Then what about realization? See? Then we get lost in ashrams, in money, in doing good to the society by schools, hospitals. But is that not required for the world? Many people ask this question. Then you are not a seeker. If you are interested in that, then you are not a seeker. Because if you are interested in that, it will not, then you are compromising your mumukshutvam. The fact that this question comes in our mind, that then if nobody builds the schools, nobody builds the hospitals, nobody builds the ashram, then how will this knowledge continue? Did you not go to an ashram to study? See, those who do it don't ask this question. Those who ask the question have a doubt. Those who don't ask this question, it is happening through them. Immaterial. There is no pull. They don't get pulled back into the world. Ammachi doesn't get pulled into the world. She is ever with herself. Shirdi Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba, Anand Mahima, Neem Karoli Baba, Ramakrishna Paramhans, Ramana, all these masters, they were in the world only. An entire samsar was created around them, but they were not part of the samsar. See? They become the instrument in the hands of the divine to get things done. But there is no personal desire that I must do this or I must do that. And if there is a desire, then mumukshutvam is not there, because you are giving value to the world. You are giving value to the impermanent. So in this manner, with this understanding that we need to purify our mind, we need to move away from the pleasures of the world because they are impermanent, then our mind will be calm, cool, happy, content, prashanta chittaha. Only such a mind, when exposed to the scriptures, will start with continuous exposure to the scripture, it starts enjoying, because the scriptures are talking about its source, its essence. They are giving him an idea of how to be permanently happy. And all these things are possible only when a person is mumukshu, that is, having an intense desire to liberate. And the last, Granth Prashamsa, the last part, the text glorified, Sansara Dhvanitapa Bhanu Kirana Prodbhutad Daha Vyatha Khinnanam Jalakankshaya Marubhuvi Shrantya Paribhramyatam Atyasanna Sudham Buddhim Sukhakaram Brahmadvayam darshayan tyesham Shankara Bharati vijayate Nirvana Sandayini Those who are tormented by the miseries of the relative existence on the path of the world by the heating rays of the sun, for someone in the desert moving hither and thither with a desire to get water, for such a tired and exhausted person, this non-dual ocean of bliss, infinite bliss, as their essential nature, is revealed by these words of Bhagwan Shankaracharya. May his words live eternally in this world. Here ends Vivek Chudamani. So who are these? Sansara Dhvani Tapa Bhanu Kirana. Sansara Dhvani Tapa Bhanu Kirana. The samsar, which is just like the world, is heated up by the hot rays of the sun. If you are not feeling the heat of living in this world, you are comfortable. I have got a good bed. I get morning breakfast, evening, afternoon lunch, evening dinner, fresh. My children are very sattvic. They are very obedient. They have done very well. They are in their good professions. They are making good money. And I got grandchildren. And I got more than enough money. So I don't even have to think whether I can go on a holiday or not, whether I can afford this or not, or I'm in heaven, man. Such a person is not a seeker. See, there was one person, if you remember, I can't remember the name, Hinduja. In London, there is this Hinduja group, and there are 2 or 3 brothers, and they are billionaires, and one of the brothers had one son. And this fellow is 11 or 12 billion, or something like that, so many $1 billion worth. And at the age of 29 or 30, the son renounced his parents and their wealth and went and joined ISKCON. And the parents said, please come back. Where have we gone wrong? We gave you all the freedom, this, that. See, in spite of all the wealth, in spite of all the accomplishments, everything was at his fingertips. But he was experiencing sansara dhvanitapa bhanu kirana. Are we like fish out of water in the midst of all the comforts that we have? If we are not, then something is wrong. We have taken, the world to be real. And what is this tap? Tap is Adi Bhautik Tap, Adi Daivik Tap, Adhyatmik Tap. 3. Adi Bhautik is the troubles, trials and tribulations coming from outside. Adi Daivik, from the gods, uncalled circumstances happening in the world. Today, Adi Bhautik will be today's friend becomes your enemy. For what? You didn't do anything. I have always been like that to him. Every day the car is working. Today it's not working. Why? Adi Bhautik. Adi Devik, unexpected. Earthquakes, lightnings, house burning. And Adhyatmik, all the trials and tribulations, troubles coming from within the mind, from inside. So sometimes the world is testing us, sometimes the gods are testing us, sometimes our mind is testing itself and troubling us. Like that young girl yesterday. Because she doesn't understand. And unless we don't recognize that sansara dhvani tapa bhanu kirana prodbhuta daha vyatha. So these are the bhut, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik and Adhyatmik tap. These are the 3 types of tap. Then Khinnanam jal. Another example is given. Just like we get frustrated, agitated because we are moving around in the desert and seeking water. See? And we get deluded. Shrantya paribhramyatam. Paribhramyatam, to get deluded. So we see water here, there, everywhere because of the hot sand, but we are not able to get even a drop of water. And that's exactly, that mirage is this world that we are living in. Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmik. This is the Bhranti. This is the delusion. and illusion. Delusion is inside, illusion is outside. Delusion is forgetfulness of our nature, illusion is everything else other than the self is considered as a source of happiness. Going to America, coming to Australia, getting married, having children, having wealth, getting drinks, watching serials. Extroverted approach, and it's never going to give us happiness. Impossible. As many arguments you may put forward, because it's impermanent, it's finite, it's continuously changing. Therefore, that which is changing cannot give you permanent happiness. खिन्नानां जलकांक्षया मरुभुवि भ्रांत्या श्रांत्या, here it is श्रांत्या written, भ्रांत्या परिभ्राम्यताम् अत्यासन्न सुधां बुधिं सुखकरं ब्रह्माद्वयं दर्शयन्. And the complete thought. अत्यासन्न सुधां बुधिं सुखकरं ब्रह्माद्वयं दर्शयन् तेषा शंकर भारती विजयते निर्वाण संदायिनी. So, अत्यासन्न सुधां बुधि सुखकरं ब्रह्माद्वय दर्शयन्. So, शंकर भारती विजयते, Tesha Shankara Bharati Vijayate Nirvana Sandaini. This scripture, these words given by Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. And what are these words about? They are about the non-dual bliss. Or here it says Atyasan Sudham Budhim, Ambudhim, ocean of infinite bliss, as their essential nature. See, so through these words in the Vivek Chudamani, the teacher Adi Shankaracharya has given us a pathway, to come Vijayate. Vijayate, you may say, to conquer, or to abide. In what? In that non-dual ocean of bliss, blissful self. Sukhakaram Brahmadvayam Darshayan. See? And in this way, the purpose with which Vivek Chudamani was started is being reiterated again, and that is the theme of the Vivek Chudamani is not anything else but abidance in our essential nature, which is not other than Brahman. Recognizing that here and now, in this life, in this moment, that is the whole purpose. And every now and then in our great land, such masters keep coming to remind the seekers what is the true purpose of life. And in this way, iti Srimad Paramahamsa परिव्राजकाचार्य गोविंद भगवत पूज्य पाद शिष्य श्रीमत् शंकर भगवत कृतो विवेक चूड़ामणि समाप्तः. And in this way, this Vivek Chudamani gets concluded. The the methodology of studying a scripture is, whenever we study the scripture, we don't complete it. Then how do you not complete it? We start again. so that we continue to remain in the contemplative. We cannot say that we have completed the scripture. Scripture should complete us. It should finish us off. But if we are still there, something has gone wrong somewhere. we got lost in the words. We got lost in the ideas. We got lost in the contemplations. We got lost in the temporary. Words were temporary. Contemplation was temporary. The ideas were temporary. But the one which is being indicated by these temporary thoughts, ideas, concepts is not temporary. That which is being indicated, that is not temporary. And that permanent one, I am. And if it has not happened at this moment, then let's begin again. Here it says, where are we? Mangalacharana. First verse. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. See? I salute to the Sadguru Govindacharya. So, Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavan, he is saluting his Guru. Govindapad ji was the disciple of Gaudapad. And all this at the mere age of 8. He had, within a short period, he had mastered all the scriptures, the language. He was extremely brilliant. I salute to the Sadguru Govindacharya, who is none other than the Supreme Bliss. See? Who is none other than the Supreme Bliss. Unless and until we don't consider Adi Shankaracharya to be none other than the Supreme Bliss, then we will not have the correct disposition towards the words that we are studying. That Shruti Ras, what was Shruti Rasika, Thana word? What was the word? Shruti Rasika. Shruti Rasika. Oh, this is not the Upanishads, this is only Bhagavan Shankaracharya. Maybe it's his imagination. No. So just like he considers his Guru Maharaj to be none other than the Supreme Reality, we must also consider Bhagavan Shankaracharya as the expression of the Supreme Reality. See? Then we will be benefit. It is not the person to whom we are prostrating is benefited. No, the one who is prostrating, he is benefited. Guru already knows that he is all that there is. So giving respect, reverence to the Guru Maharaj is helpful for the Shishya. It brings his mind in the right frame, in the right disposition, where these words can click. See? If you have noticed, your children, as they grow up, they look up to their father and mother as they are growing up. Many of their habits are like their parents. because that is their exposure for them, that is their world. Who is our world? Is the truth our world? Is our Guru Maharaj and what his words are indicating, is that our world? Are we ready to give up this world and go to that higher world? See? Indicated, none other than the supreme bliss indicated through the doctrine of all the Upanishads. Govind, Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta. So, by his grace, the essence of all the Vedanta, of the scriptures, is being what you call given. Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmeham. And in this way, he says, now remember one thing. Brahmanishta Mahatva. Jantunam nara janma durlabhamataha punstvam tato viprata tasmadvaidika dharma marga parata vidvatvamasmat param atmanatma vivechanam swanubhavo brahmatmana sanstitihi मुक्तिर्नो शतकोटिजन्म सुकृतैः पुण्यैर्विना लभ्यते पुण्यैर्विना लभ्यते जंतूनां नरजन्म दुर्लभमता. Among all the creatures, to get human birth is rare indeed. Then punstvam tato viprata. Among the humans, if someone is interested in the study of scriptures, which is called a Vipra. Vipra is the person who is twice born, or jiska jane ho gaya, who has been initiated, who is interested in something higher, that is even rare. Then tasmad vaidika dharma marga parata vidvatvam asmat param. Even rarer than this fellow who is interested in the scriptures is a person who is following the path of dharma, who is following the path of righteousness, who is able to the T follow the path of the scriptures. See? People look at Vedas and get lost in rituals. Same people read the Vedas, they get lost in Upasana. Some people read the same Vedas, they get lost in philosophy of Upanishads. But is that what it is about? Is it about rituals? Is it about Upasana? Is it about concepts and philosophy? Or is it about, is our engagement with the Vedas for realization of the truth? And in that name of rituals, they keep doing. Nowadays someone is doing lot of rituals. Every day they send me photos from India. Today we did this for Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, for Jagat Kalyan, for COVID removal. Arey, you have been appointed. So rarer is it to follow the path of dharma according to the Vedas. Even rarer than the person who is following the path of the Vedas is the rarer is the erudition and the study of scriptures. So we may be doing the rituals, we may be doing the chanting of the scriptures, That's what a brahmachari does when he goes to a gurukul. But to study the scriptures and understand the scriptures correctly is even rarer. See? Some people learn Vedic chanting. They chant the Taittiriya Upanishad, they chant the Narayana Suktam, they chant the different Upanishads. For them, that chanting itself is, it's so beautiful, it's so wonderful. So is chanting of the scriptures and the Upanishads, is it for getting a temporary kick? Or is it to invoke a urge and interest within you कि यार I am chanting all these words, all these Upanishads for so long, what do they mean? What do they indicate? What do they signify? What is the secret of these? Whether it be Narayana Suktam, whether it be Purusha Suktam, whether it is Durga Suktam, whether it is Sri Rudram, what are they indicating? Have we ever, or we are only busy? Oh, today is Pradosham. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, and we chant. Meaning, Than Than Gopal. Meaning, I don't know. Then what do you know? Only pouring milk on the shivling. That's all. That anyone can do, any fool can do that. See? So therefore, interested in scriptures is rare. But even rarer is person who wants to understand the scriptures, not just chant the scriptures, not just read the scriptures. Like if you go to Fiji, they pray to Bhagavad Gita. They open Bhagavad Gita only if someone dies and they chant the second chapter. They don't open Bhagavad Gita to study. Then Atma Natma Vivechanam Svanubhavo Brahmatmana Sanstitihi. Atma Anatma Vivechanam. Until and unless the discrimination is not brought about between the Atma and Anatma, between the self and the not self. Self is permanence, not self is changing. Self is infinite, not self is finite. Unless and until we do not bring our attention, our focus, our continuous application to assess what is changing at this moment, and what is the unchanging. The words that you are hearing are changing. So many different words are coming and hitting your eardrum, and then getting converted into thoughts in your mind. It's a continuous flow of, for last 1 hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes I am speaking. Continuously. But who is the unchanging? So is your attention on the words, or is your attention on that principle because of which hearing is possible or thoughts are possible? Are you watching? Are you observing? Are you attentive towards that? It sounds nice, Atman Atma Vivek, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. But is our attention there at any given moment? Or are we lost only in words? Shabdajalam Maharanyam. The word, it's a big forest of words. And you can get, it's a bhul bhulaiya, you can get caught up in it. And it's second hand, it's coming from someone. Don't get caught up with the words. Don't get caught up with someone's words. Don't get caught up with personalities. Yes, we must have respect, reverence, no doubt. But all that personality, those words like Shankaracharya and his words, they must. Our attention is not on the words and the person. Our attention is on what his teaching is, his compassion, his love to get the essence of all the Upanishads and present it to us in this format of Vivek Chudamani. It must be because his love for everyone, which are not other than him. So if he is realized, think, if he is realized, then realization means everything is one. Then why did he create this scripture if there is no one other than him? Question, if you may not have thought, but I am asking. If everything is one, then why did Adi Shankaracharya pen down these beautiful poetical verses? For whom? If everything is one. See? Then it's Leela. Then it is Leela. If everything is one, then why did Krishna kill all the Rakshasas? Leela is going on. And our presence must add value to the world where this particular form is expressing. From the worldly point, from the relative standpoint, empirical standpoint. And it must happen naturally, not as a result of desire. It must happen naturally, effortlessly. Just like Adi Shankaracharya was on the street, and when he heard the person who was chanting Rama Rama Ramaha Ramam Rama Raman, and his disciples who were with him, they started laughing. Spontaneously, there and then, the Bhaj Govindam, the first 14 verses came out of his mouth. See? When he was moving around on the streets of Varanasi, he came across that Chandal with the 4 dogs. And he told him, get away, get away. He says, who are you telling to get away? This body or this Atma? Both cannot go away, because this body, what it is made up of, your body is also made up of that. And Atma cannot go anywhere. He fell at his feet, told, please reveal, it was Lord Shiva. And immediate, spontaneous. Manisha, spontaneously the Manisha Panchkam came out. See these Namdev, Jnaneshwar Maharaj, the Viraha Geet and the bhajans of Mirabai, etc. They did not come because they wanted to teach the humanity. It came out because of their love for the Lord. See, it's a spontaneous expression with no purpose. We may say the great masters have done all this for our benefit. All that is good. However, without the discrimination between the self and the not self, Atma and Atma Vivechanam, and firm abidance in the infinite Brahman, Swanubhavo Brahmatmana Sanstitihi, having Swa Anubhav, having experienced themselves and getting established in Brahmatma, in the Brahman. Or you can put it in this way, Brahma Atmana Sanstitihi. By direct Swa Anubhav, by direct realization that Atma alone is Brahman. And being established in that, Muktirno Shatakoti Janmasu Krutai Punyairvina Labhyate. Liberation from the relative existence is not possible without the merits accumulated through innumerable lives. See? So here, the reason we go back to the beginning of Vivek Chudamani is to reaffirm the importance of the human birth. And having got human birth, the interest in satsang, interest in scriptures. Having got interested in scriptures, born to a good family, born a human being, born with a good head, good intellect, interested in doing good to the society, all that we have done already enough, or continue, doesn't matter if it is happening. But now the interest is towards the scriptures, and we are understanding the scriptures also. That itself is a rarity, that we are understanding it. Because many people don't even want to come close to it. They want to run 100 kilometers away. They'll come next door, but they will not come here. See, they're scared. They're afraid. Because their notions will be challenged in satsang. Their notions with which they have made their life comfortable, all will be taken away. And that fear makes them not come to the scriptures, to the satsangs. And therefore, all this that we have said, that the human body, the interest, the interest in the scriptures, the ability to understand the scriptures, the urge to realize, all this is because of all the sadhana that you have done in your previous lives. So in last life you did not get realized, therefore you are again born and you are continuing your journey. And if you don't realize now, we will meet again. I hope not. See, what hope? This is just a way of communicating. There is no coming back or going. And therefore, दुर्लभम त्रयमेवैतद देवानुग्रह हेतुकम मनुष्यत्वम मुमुक्षुत्वम महापुरुष संश्रयः. Being born as human, having the longing for freedom from relative existence, and taking refuge at the feet of the wise are extremely difficult things to attain. These three are seen in one's life as a sheer grace of God. Huh? So what are the three things that are grace? Having got the human birth. Second, an urge to realize. And third, our willingness to surrender at the feet of the Guru Maharaj and accept the teachings and mold ourselves, not mold the Guru Maharaj, mold ourselves. Mold ourselves according to the scriptures. Guru Maharaj is not there to control or no, he is there only to teach the scriptures. You have to mold yourself, change your notions, do whatever is required to realize what is given in the scriptures. लब्ध्वा कन्त लब्ध्वा कथच लब्ध्वा कथञ्चिनरजन्म दुर्लभं तत्रापि पुंस्त्वं श्रुतिपारदर्शनं यः स्वात्ममुक्तौ नयतेत्मुदधीः स ह्यात्मः स्वं विनिहन्त्य सदग्रहात्. Such a rare opportunity, that is having got the human birth along with commitment to the cause and understanding the scriptures. He who does not put forward efforts for liberation is a fool indeed. He is the killer of the self by holding on to the unreal. See how strong words are used. He is the killer of his own self. If he continues to hold on to the world of changing. Atmahanan. He is killing himself by holding on to the world. By holding on to the world, not one day suicide, continuous suicide only going on. Every interaction with the world without our attention on the self is a suicide. पर हम भी ढीठ हैं. हम भी we have become so accustomed to suicide that we have taken it. अच्छा चल रहा है, चलने दो, सब कुछ ठीक है, it's all okay. We have become thick-skinned. So in this way, you can read the scripture yourself. Then we come to this verse 74, I think. Da, 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 da. One moment, I'll just tell you where I am. Where are we? Then such a student then ask the questions. These are the questions that were answered in rest of the Vivek Chudamani. This is verse number 88. शिष्य उवाच कृपया श्रूयतां स्वामिन् प्रश्नोऽयं क्रियते मया यदुत्तरमहं श्रुत्वा कृतार्थस्यां भवन्मुखात्. Oh, the Shishya said, Shishya uvacha, Kripaya Shruyatam Swamin, kindly listen, O Master, to the questions that I now raise. Hearing their answers from your lips, I shall feel entirely satisfied. And he asked the questions. And what were the questions? Oh, questions were, I'll tell. Where are we? What is happening to me? Anyway, whatever. So he says the questions that he asked was, को नाम बंध कथमेष आगतः कथं प्रतिष्ठास्य कथं विमोक्षः को सावनात्मा परमः क आत्मा तयोर्विवेक कथमेतदुच्यताम्. Ko nama bandaha. What is bondage, sir? Please explain to me. Now tell me, he who is attached to the world, will he ever ask this question, what is bondage? He must have. What we heard before, or the last verse, last and the second last verse of this Vivek Chudamani, until unless we have not weaned away from the world, till then this question of bondage will not come erupt in our mind only. So this student has worked on himself. He has got the Vairagya and he is asking, what is bondage, sir? From where has bondage come? Please tell me. Katham esha agataha. From where it has come? Katham pratisthasya. How does it continue to exist? Pratisthasya, how does it continue to stay? Pratishthit hona. How is it established? How does it establish itself? What? Bondage. How does the bondage establish itself? Then, katham vimokshaha. How can one become free from this bondage? So, how many questions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, kaha asau anatma. What is not self? The fifth question. What is not self? Paramaha ka atma. What is the supreme? Parama, the supreme self. What is the supreme self? Please tell me. Tayor viveka kathametad uchyatam. And in this way, and what is the process of sorting these questions, how to discriminate, how to contemplate upon these questions and answers to these between the self and the not self, and please explain all these things. And in response to this, then the whole Vivek Chudamani began. Yes, till before also it was given there, but what was told there? It was told about the rareness of the human birth. There it was told about how grace is expressing. There it was told what is a fit student. There it was told what are the fourfold qualifications. And in this way, all the preliminaries before the important question, what is bondage? See? So all the preliminary stuff was told. What is the means of wisdom? What is fit student? What are the fourfold qualification? What is bhakti? What is the way to approach a teacher? What is the way to question a teacher? And in this way, first, it was not because the teacher Bhagwan Shankaracharya is wanting to trouble us. He is writing all these preparatory verses so that we understand that if we have that type of disposition, if we are a fit student, if we have the qualifications, if we are in urgency to know the self, if we have the dispassion towards the world, if we don't want to waste our time in the human this human birth that we have got, and with all these preparations, then when we approach a teacher, then it has to be fruitful. It has to be fruitful. Then such a student cannot, as we saw, all the student, so many students must have been there listening to this Vivek Chudamani. But this one student, having listened, came to realize? King Parikshit, he did not do any sadhana. He heard the whole Bhagavatam. After 7 days, he realized. Arjuna did not do any sadhana. He only became a fit student with the right ingredients in the right place. The inner makeup, not the outer makeup. Inner makeup. Inner makeup is being a fit student, having faith, having recognizing and having the gratitude towards the Lord for having given this human birth, and the teacher, and the interest in the scriptures, and the ability to understand, etc., etc., etc. So let's remember all this, and that's why I came back to the beginning of the scripture of the Vivek Chudamani, as some of you had not joined from the beginning, but just to give you the idea how it began. And also, we should never finish the scripture. We should continue to study the scripture till it finishes us. So we began it again, and if we are not finished, we will certainly approach it again sometime. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om. May Shankaracharya, whatever the Lord has given here, may we realize within this lifetime.